Chris Gunness. He's a former spokesperson for the UN's Relief Agency for Palestinian Refugees and joins me now from London. Thank you so much for being with us on the program.
My pleasure.
Now, the UN had warned against the GHF system from the get-go. They've paused operations now for a day to make things more efficient. But what could they possibly do moving forward to make things more efficient?
Listen, this GHF has turned Gaza into a human abattoir because we are seeing hungry, starving, dying women, children and others staggering towards what are effectively cattle pens. And when they get there, there's clear evidence from eyewitnesses in hospitals, doctors and other independent sources that the Israeli army is simply opening fire on them. And that is why people are saying that this is ethnic cleansing, it's a war crime, it could well be genocide. Many believe it is, and the Israelis are under investigation for genocide. It certainly looks like genocide. So you ask what can be done to improve a genocidal situation. Well, the answer is call it off. Pull back the GHF, cancel it. They've had resignations at the very top. They've had the organization that was one of their consultants pulling out. The Israelis, have banned the UN. And what we need to do is for the amateur cowboys to be disbanded. These are soldiers attempting to do an aid operation. And let's stand back and look at this. These are soldiers who are being accused of genocide, suddenly doing a humanitarian operation. Of course, it's absolutely mad that we can even consider allowing humanitarian aid into the hands of these people. The United Nations, led by UNRWA, the United Nations Relief and Works Agency, which the Secretary General Antonio Guterres has described as the backbone of the UN's humanitarian response, they need to get back in. We need to open all the crossings 24/7. And, you know, if you assured the people of Gaza that food was going to be constantly coming in, there wouldn't be this undignified rush for food. People, if there were proper food distributions, as UNRWA has been doing since the 1950s, if the UN were allowed to do proper aid distributions, none of this would be going on. We need to stop this madness and let the professionals do the aid distributions.
Among the hunger and the constant bombardment across the Gaza Strip, the Israeli military is constantly issuing evacuation orders. Most recently, they issued evacuation orders for Khan Yunis, which, as you may know, is close to Rafah, where that distribution point is. Give us some insight into what happens when families are told to move from one location to another time and time again, and they're forcibly displaced.
They are terrified, and they see it, and I think the world should see this, not just as forced displacement, but as forced displacement, which is part of a campaign of ethnic cleansing, and it's a part of a terror campaign which uses starvation as a weapon of war. We've seen time and time again the Israelis, as they've done again recently, to define a so-called safe route. As we can now see on our screens, people move along these so-called safe routes. They're attacked by the IDF on the way, deliberately targeted. And then when they arrive in these so-called safe zones, they are attacked again. Make no mistake about it. There is one aim behind all this. It's ethnic cleansing and it's genocide. And until we realize that the people committing this are the people claiming to deliver humanitarian aid, well, the sooner the better, because the scales will fall from our eyes and we'll see exactly what is going on. This has to stop. And the Israeli propagandists are out in force, distributing fake videos of different places saying this is proof that Hamas is shooting at unarmed people. Well, let me tell you, in 2014, during the war, IDF spokespeople, Israeli spokespeople, they phoned up journalists. They said, oh, there are militants in UNRWA schools, therefore we had to blow up UNRWA schools. When the war was over, we did an investigation. There was a board of inquiry. It was all utter nonsense. And again, we've seen in the past the IDF circulating videos purporting to be Hamas operatives in UNRWA schools. When these were investigated, turned out to be complete nonsense. So let's treat these fake videos going around for what they are. This is fake news being distributed by Israel. And you know what? They can't spin genocide. There is no way that you can look at what's going on in Gaza and believe this nonsense. Time and time again, the Israeli spokespeople, the Hasbara Brigade, have been shown to be lying time and time again. We must not believe them this time. There should be an independent investigation. International journalists should be allowed in. If they have nothing to hide, allow in foreign journalists. Let's have some proper verification of what's going on. There are very good journalists in Gaza, Palestinian journalists, but there's no excuse for treating Gaza like it's North Korea. Israel is now in the same category as North Korea, banning international journalists. They must have something to hide, surely.
Chris Gunness, thank you so much for being with us here on the NewsHour. I appreciate it.